noticed. Fancy. So yeah, today we're going to talk about niches and niching and whether or not you need to niche, how you choose a niche, can you have more than one niche? And we're even going to talk about your elevator pitch or your marketing statement. So maybe, you know, you can type yes in the chat if you've had any of these questions about niching and that's why you're here. But we're even going to talk about some niching drama.
Sorry, I'm on mute. Before we jump in, I think we should just take a pause here and talk about the niche drama. I think we can all agree that the drama is real. And to be honest, it's one of the biggest things that Emily and I both struggled with at the beginning too. And we know it's a huge struggle for lots of coaches. So we wanted to do this workshop to help other people who might be struggling with this right now. So yeah, if that's you, put a me in the chat, put a Y. I think that we're all in this together. We all know what it's like to have to be forced to choose something we don't feel like we want to or need to choose. But I just wanted to say that sometimes niche drama and thinking about niching becomes a convenient way, almost like an excuse to kind of cover up things that we don't like or that make us uncomfortable, like putting ourselves out there or dealing with imposter syndrome. So we think things like, who am I to be talking about this? Like, I know about this, but I'm not a real expert. And you need to know that these thoughts are really normal. It's really common. There's nothing wrong with you, and you're certainly not alone. But just be aware that sometimes part of you wants to keep yourself confused, because if you get the clarity, that means you have to actually do something and take action. And then you start to feel afraid, right? So sometimes we think, oh no, I don't know my niche. So that's why I'm not posting. That's why I'm not doing videos. But just be aware and mindful of what's really holding you back when it comes to niching. Give yourself some grace, but don't let that stop you from moving forward. So some beliefs to let go of are that I don't want to put myself in a box. I don't want to limit myself. I can coach anybody. So your niche does not put you in a box. It doesn't define you as a coach or as a person, or even it doesn't even define your business as a whole. We'll talk more about that later. And definitely don't wait for a perfectly defined niche to start. You can coach without a niche. You can do practice coaching in our group. You can just, when you meet someone who's struggling with something, make an offer to have a conversation with them. It doesn't matter what the area, what the niche is, if you have a niche. Actually, coaching people in different areas will help you to figure out what niche is best for you. So just recognize that what's holding you back, do some self-coaching and talk to peers about it, brainstorm with people, tell them how you're feeling, okay? So just be aware that you're not using your niche as an excuse, okay? So what is a niche then?
So some of you might be even questioning our pronunciation of niche. Niche, in Canada, we say niche. I know in the States, you guys tend to say niche. I'm not sure about the other parts of the world, but they're the same thing. It's basically a detailed description of what you actually do in your zone of genius. So if we think about, you know, doctors and their specializations, the doctor's the really big category. And as we narrow that down, you have a surgical doctor, a heart surgeon, and then even a pediatric surgeon. So it's, you know, taking something, a broad category, and narrowing it down to something really specific that you can really target. But it's important to remember that it doesn't encompass all that you are as a person or as a coach. This is just something that you're going to use to market yourself to your potential client. So when you niche down and get to your marketing statement or your elevator pitch, you need to be able to communicate the who, the what, and possibly the how of who you serve, and then connect that back to why you are the right person to help them. So in this example here, we've got the who is new moms. Did I just do that? Nice. You've got new moms you've got the problem that you're solving. So that's moms maybe who are worried about returning to work, or moms who are struggling to juggle work and family life. And then how you serve them would be that you create work-life balance. And then specifically why you, because maybe you're a working mom of two who started a business while working full-time and struggled and then found the solution. So this makes the specific type of people that you work with very clear, and also lets people know why you're the right person to work with them. So you might be wondering what people want help in. Rebecca's going to share about that a little bit.
Another thing is when you're choosing your niche, it's normal to think about what you like and what you want to talk about, but don't just choose a niche based on what you want to coach or on what you think people need. Get into the mindset of thinking, what does my client need? So of course you can and should choose something that you love or you're passionate about, but also think about things that will help them and something they'll pay for, right? So also successful coaches do one thing really well. They solve a problem for their client. So when you solve a problem for them, they'll be willing to pay you for it, right? So there's three ways, types of transformations you can look at. So one would be to be. So this means your clients want to be a different version of themselves. They're dreaming of a version of themselves, like less stressed or recognized or a better public speaker. Maybe they want to have something. So this means they might want to have things like more money, more freedom, a better career. That's a bit more tangible, that one. Maybe they want to feel a certain way. They want to feel happy. They want to feel confident, healthy. So think of it in terms of what's the problem you can help clients solve, and which one of those might it fit into? Maybe it's more than one. So let's look at a broad overview of where these fit in the major categories of niches.
So there's 5 pretty main categories that niches fall into, and they're relationships, passions, money, career, and health and fitness. So relationship things can be like dating or divorce or communication or friendships even. And then there's passions or special interests like golfing or deep sea fishing or travel, or even things like home organization. And then there's money, and those are pretty obvious, but investing, budget balancing, insurance, or even loans. And then there's things like careers of new jobs or retirement, or even just career advancement, and health and fitness, which is a big one. And that's things, you know, like weight loss or specific diets like keto, yoga, or exercise programs. So of course, this list isn't exhaustive, but these are the top categories for coaches to specialize in. So you might be wondering now, do you really need to choose a niche? Because that's what we asked ourselves many, many, many times. Are you guys seeing these red lines on the screen?
Yeah, I think it's like a capability that some people can write on the slides. I don't know how to stop it though.
Okay. That is Christopher is doing
Christopher.
And I cannot erase it, only Christopher can.
Hey, Christopher, if you know how, erase your little
naughty kid.
Okay, now that's Jen. I don't know how we turn off this feature.
Maybe it's on view or something. People are wanting to add their own thoughts, I think.
That's too funny. All drawing.
Under view options, you've got annotate. You can erase as a host.
There, I got it now. I got it now.
Yeah, and I was going to say that if people want to, like, don't worry about screenshotting, or definitely take notes, but we're going to send the replay, so you can pause it and take a picture or something if you want of a slide. So yeah, so back to the presentation, and I see some questions coming in. We'll talk about it after. Let's just get through the teaching part, and then let's have a bunch of questions too. So this kind of goes back to the drama bit a little bit, to be honest. And the answer is that your life and marketing will be much easier if you have a specialization. Sure, you learned general life coaching skills, and of course you're equipped to coach anyone, and you definitely can. Of course you can. However, in general, people don't usually buy life coaching. They buy solutions to problems. So if you're speaking to everyone and trying to help everyone, you're speaking to no one. Nobody, you don't stand out. No one will really understand what it is that you do. The coaching world is crowded and competitive. So to get noticed by ideal clients and stand out from the crowd in your space, you need to build a reputation as an expert. You need to differentiate yourself. And the best way to stand out is to let people know exactly and specifically how you can help them. So there's a couple examples there on the slide. If you just go back one slide, sorry, Emily. Like, for example, if you say, oh, if someone asks you what you do, oh, I'm a life coach. To be honest, like not a lot of people know what that is. Some people do, but not everyone. Or if you say, I'm a health coach for women, so that's better. But if you say, I help postpartum women lose the baby weight within 6 months while staying healthy, then that's really clear what it is you do. And people understand why they would want to work with you. Okay, so the benefits to niching, just in case you weren't convinced enough already, here are some of the quick reasons why you should niche. So narrowing down helps you narrow down to where to find those people to connect with. So you know where to look. So example, if you're helping mid-level managers get promoted and have the confidence to get promoted, you would know that LinkedIn is probably better for you than TikTok, right? People can easily refer clients to you if they know what you do and who you help and how. They can tell other people. If they don't understand what you do, they won't ask you more about it, and they frankly probably won't tell anyone else about it because they'll be confused, so they won't be able to refer people. If you're clear on who you work with and you can communicate it to anyone you speak with, and you can target people, you can use that for research, for ads, anything, copywriting, marketing, any content you write will be much easier if you have a clear vision of who it is you help. So once you know who your people are, you can easily speak to them. You can build trust and connection with them. So you can articulate their problems in their words, not the coachy words, but their words. And so they might even feel like, wow, it feels like he was in my head when he said that. He really gets me. So that's really important. So how do we figure out how to choose a niche? I think that's the biggest question.
So hopefully you guys all got the workbook that we sent ahead of this. So in pages 3, 4, and 5, we go through, you know, writing down your story, picking one, mind mapping it, and then narrowing it down from a broad category to a more specific subcategory, and then down to a niche. And remember that what works for you might not work for everybody. So try more than one, and try as many of these as you can, and just really figure out what you're interested in. So look at who you are, what people like and admire about you, major events that have happened in your life that people can relate to, what people come to you for support on already. If people already come to talk to you about a specific thing, then maybe that's something that you're already geared towards. What topics you like to discuss, and even what topics you don't want to work on. I say all the time that I don't want to work on career topics, but still people always tend to come to me to want to talk about career topics. It's a hot topic, but it's not something that I'm super interested in. So I noticed that about myself and recognize that. And if you're still confused, you can always look to friends and colleagues and family to get some tips on what they think that you'd be good at. So once you go through those exercises in the workbook, you might come up with a ton of good ideas, and you might want to keep them all, maybe like I did. And maybe you're wondering if you can keep them all.
Yeah, so can I have more than one niche? Is anyone here, I'm just curious, anyone on the call considering more than one niche, or they have more than one niche? I know I have been going through this and I have gone through this, and it's so tempting to just try to do a whole bunch of things at once. And of course it's possible, but having one to start is easier. So as far as I know, there's no niche police, no niche police, and no one's coming after you. But if you want to make your life simple and easier in this aspect, because there's other things to think about, then keeping yourself with one niche just to try out for a little while is probably a better idea. The more targeted that you are in your messaging, the clearer and easier it will be for potential clients to identify with you and buy from you. So there's a famous saying in marketing is that a confused mind does not buy. So if someone goes to your website and there's like a ton of different options, they may just click off. They may not feel like you're the right person for them. So yeah, just think about that. And I think that a good way to think about it is that think of your niche as an offer, okay? So a niche can be looked at as an offer. It doesn't define you or you as a coach or your business. It just describes a type of coaching that you offer. So of course you could have more than one offer. Having one is better, but your niche could be just thought of as something that you offer to people, okay? It doesn't mean you can't talk about anything else, right? So some people have bigger category niche and smaller subcategories. You can have a specific offer, but you can also post content and talk about and give speaking and go to speaking and do presentations around your core beliefs, your values and perspectives. So people who are looking to hold those values and beliefs like you do, they'll be attracted to you as well, even though they're not a new mom or something, or someone who's separating, right? So they hear you talk about that and they want that transformation as well, or they already have that value. So they feel connected to you. So it's very likely, this happens all the time, they're going to reach out to you and they'll say, yeah, I'm not a new mom, but I really love how you post about freedom as a value. And, you know, and they want to talk to you. That happens all the time. So you will not put yourself in a box and you can definitely talk about other things. Yeah, they might be attracted to the way of your thinking. So pick one to start. You can always change. It's so common. People always change their niche down the road. You can too. So I think Emily wanted to tell us a little bit about her own story with niching.
Yeah, I just decided to share this yesterday when Rebecca and I were talking about this, because when I started, I hated the idea of niching. I hated the idea of pigeonholing myself. I didn't want to narrow it down too much.
Maybe just want to mute.
Yeah, I'm not sure who. Yeah, so I decided that I was going to keep my niche very broad, and it was relationship transitions. So anything that was changing within a personal relationship, whether that was a partner or a friendship or your mother or your coworker, because I really didn't want to narrow it down further than that. But once I started getting into things and having to develop my website and figure out a lead magnet and post things on Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever I was trying to post things, it became very difficult to speak to my audience because my audience was so broad. My messaging to somebody who's fighting with their mom is a much different message than to somebody who's breaking up with their partner, or friendships that are struggling because they live halfway across the country now. So it just became too difficult to manage. So I realized that yeah, I needed to narrow it down a little bit more so that I could really hone in on my messaging and my elevator pitch. So once I had chosen my niche, then I can work on this. And it's also, your elevator pitch is also known as a value proposition or a unique benefit statement. Again, it's about your ideal client and not about you or how great coaching is. So you don't want your messaging to talk about yourself, and you don't really want it to talk about coaching at all, because like Rebecca said, people don't hire life coaches, they hire solutions, or they hire somebody to help them with their problems and get them to a good solution. So, for example, mindset is not a niche. every coach coaches on mindset for the most part, because when people have issues that they're working on, it's usually not an external thing. It's something within inside themselves that they need to shift their mindset on. So when you create this elevator pitch, you want it to be simple. You want it to not be a lot of words. You want to use regular conversational language and really be clear about what the solution is. And you want to write your content and copy as a marketer and not as a coach. So don't use any coachy words, you know. For example, you don't want to say, I help X type of people with their limiting beliefs, because we use those terms as coaches, but most people don't say that, you know. They're going to say, I want to be able to, you know, communicate better with my children, for example. They're not going to come to you and say, I have a limiting belief about what the dynamic is between a parent and a child. So, you know, you want to get to the bottom of the cause, but your client sees and only usually thinks about the symptoms and not the cause. So make sure that you're not using any coach lingo, because it will go over your client's head and you will lose them. Or you'll never get them in the first place, really. So in the workbook, again, on pages 6 and 7, it takes you from understanding what your client struggles with to being able to say, I help X person with X problem. So let's take a look at some examples of elevator pitches. And feel free to drop your pitch in the chat if you'd like. We can talk about it after the presentation, or you know, maybe some other people can give you feedback as well. So I told you about my example of how I was really broad and then I narrowed down. So this is actually mine at the beginning here. So I help women separate from their partners in a way that leaves them feeling empowered. And of course, that could even get more specific, but it's a heck of a lot more specific than it was originally. So I'm at least on my way there. But some other good ones are, I help people get their book out of their heads and onto the bookshelves, or I help women executives reach financial freedom by transforming their relationship to money. So, you know, these are some examples, and we can talk some more about this later when we do our Q&A and just have a chat. But Rebecca is going to talk to you a little bit more about these kind of formulas for really honing in on your elevator pitch.
Yeah, so this is in the workbook on page 7 and 8. And if you're here and you didn't get the workbook, we will send it to you. Okay, just we'll check the chat after and we will send you a copy. And you'll get a copy of this presentation so you can go through again, because it really is about writing things out and just trying things on. So go ahead and fill that all out. So here are some different pitch formulas. There's tons of formulas rolling around out there. This second one is a pretty exhaustive one. But the first one, at least one of those two things have to be very specific. They can't both be generic, right? So pick either the who or the what to be really pretty specific. If they're both specific, that's awesome. So make some photocopies of the ones we sent to you in the workbook, or just write them in a journal or notebook. Try on a whole bunch of options, try them out with different people and get uncomfortable and just really get specific, narrow it down, see how specific you can get. So the second one there, it would be I help who do what. So what do you help them with? If they had a genie in a bottle, what would they wish for? Okay, so like Emily said, they're not going to say, I wish I had no limiting beliefs. Of course, coaches, we say things like that, but do you think like the average person on the street is going to say that? No, they actually, like that's a cause, right? They don't know that. They only see the symptoms of what's stopping them in their life. So think of it that way. What would they wish for if they could? So that's the transformation, that's the benefit, the consequence, and the benefit extension. What will it give them? More of a deeper driver. And so why are they wishing for that thing, right? So you can even use a qualifier like unlike or without. So how is it that you do it differently? So I do it this way. And what are the other issues or other problems that are causing people not to get this problem solved? And what can I do differently? How can you differentiate yourself? And I'll give you an example. And also you can add a time frame. So that's amazing. In 6 months, or lose 20 pounds or something like that. So for example, you could say something like, I help 40 something moms reach their ideal body weight so they feel energized and excited to play with their kids, and they love getting up every day without going on yo-yo diets and never eating foods they love in 6 months or less. Right? So that really speaks to somebody. They're like, oh, that's me. And adding a timeline is really good too. That's what people want, right? That's how people buy things. Yeah. So don't say things like, I help you get unstuck, right? So that's the other thing. And avoid metaphors. For example, don't say, oh, I help people shine in their job. Well, what does shine mean? Right? There's people with different languages, and maybe they don't understand what shine means. And honestly, I don't even know what that means. If I heard someone say it, what does it mean? Right? So you can't just leave it out of metaphor and use something cute or catchy. This is not the time to do things like that, right? Just get to the point. Don't beat around the bush. And like Emily said, take your coach hat off. Okay. Just use language that people actually use, so that they really just understand what you're talking about and can decide right away. And we want to say, does it pass the parent test? Okay. Or the 7 and 87 test. So that means if you were to meet somebody's parents tomorrow and they said to you, what do you do? And you told them what you do, are they going to understand you, or are their eyes going to glaze over and they're just going to be like, that's nice, turn around, talk to someone else? If you told a 7-year-old or an 87-year-old what you do, will they understand? Okay, so think about it that way. If you have a kid or someone's parents, maybe test it out on them. But yeah, definitely try these out and just get started.
Yes, definitely. That's a good point. So we wanted to touch on that too. And Rebecca hit on this a little bit earlier too. We don't want this, don't let niching get in the way of you getting out there and coaching, because I think both Rebecca and I did that for a while. We were like, if we don't have a niche, then, we're not marketing ourselves and we can't coach, but it's not true. And you guys know that. You can't let it stop you from getting started, because you don't have to stick with it once you've chosen it. I mean, there's nobody that's going to fault you if you decide that you want to change the path that you go on. So pick something now and run with it, but keep coaching no matter what. So we know that coaching is hard, or that niching is hard, sorry. But it's not the only thing that new coaches struggle with. Oh, you're muted.
Muted. Yeah, niching is definitely a big thing. We all see that. We all know that. But there are other things that come up besides niching, right? That can easily just be another barrier. It kind of seems like, at least to me, I know Emily feels the same, that what you feel like you solve one thing and another thing comes up, and then another thing comes up, right? So does anyone else feel like that? So feel free to drop a Y in the chat if you understand what I'm saying, that it's like one thing and then another thing and another thing. So that's kind of what the journey is like. It can be hard to start a business. There's other things that are hard, like you feel like an imposter, or you don't have enough confidence to actually coach people. You're unsure of what to work on when, and you love coaching, but you don't want to run a business. That was a big one for me. Like, I don't know anything about being an entrepreneur. I don't know about having a business. You don't know where to find clients. You start off really strong, then you lose steam, get off track. If no one's holding you accountable, it's kind of like, oh, I guess no one's watching, I'm the boss, so I'll do what I want. And then you just realize you're not making progress and you feel bad about it. It's a vicious cycle, and it's just pretty lonely and isolating as well. So trust me, we know all about it. Yeah. I think, Arnold, we have to mute you, but yeah, we get it. Like, we've been there too. Trust me, we have definitely been there. Emily and I, we spent so much time, wasted time working on our websites. I agonized for months over my niche. We bought all the programs, we did all the webinars, we downloaded the freebies. We tried all the things people told us. Let's be honest, like the gurus and the coaches for coaches who were telling us what to do, basically wasting time, money, energy, and not really feeling much better about it. Yeah, but luckily for Emily and I, we had each other since our training. We met each other just before we started our coach training. So thank God we had each other. And we also started a small mastermind group with other coaches, and that has helped us so much. We got and gave a lot of support to each other. We shared ideas, feedback, strategies. We held each other accountable, and we helped each other stay motivated when we felt like quitting, which was, that happens. It's very normal. But we had each other to stay strong and just, stay persistent with it. So I just want to ask you something, like, what would it be different for you if you had a group of people to do this with?
Yeah, so, what would it feel like if you had a community that's much smaller than the groups of, sometimes up to 20,000 people, where you actually get to speak with people on live calls, get feedback and share struggles and successes, and personally interact with, master certified coaches and guest experts every month. Like us, you'd probably finally have the space and support to get clear on your goals, figure out what you actually need to be working on every day, and get unstuck. You'd have trusted peers to talk with, practice with, and learn from, and gain so much confidence. You'd finally get moving too and make this coaching thing work. We had this, and we really want to share that with you guys too. We saw other coaches struggling with the same thing, so we wanted to help. So we're excited to announce Coaches That Prosper. So this is our new community that we created to support other coaches who felt the same way as we did. We wanted them to have the experience, the support, and motivation that we had. So let's tell you a little bit about this community.
Yeah, so first of all, what it's not a course. It's not another $2,000 course to just put on your digital shelf. It's not a program. It's not a one size fits all, like, silver bullet type of thing, or it's not something you have to try this way. You have to use Facebook. You have to use LinkedIn. It's a membership. It's a safe, supportive space for masterminding, connecting, learning, getting confidence, staying consistent, growing your business. So we'll have monthly guest experts who are going to come in and teach you things about building your business, the key fundamentals, and the strategies you need to get clients and be successful. Every month, there'll be a supervised coaching session with an MCC level mentor coach to build your confidence. We're going to have a content and template library. Already, it's going to come stocked with a bunch of stuff in there. We'll tell you more about that. After, we'll have regular mastermind meetings for accountability, consistency, and some personalized help so that you can stay on track and tackle your individual goals. Everyone has a different path and has different things they want to work on. So these are the things that you can work on together. Accountability meetings, co-working sessions, just invaluable support from an awesome community that will be there to help you stay motivated and positive when your inner critic kicks in and tries to sabotage your progress. We're going to have another separate small private members Facebook community. So that's only for people in this group. And bonus happy hour mixers and networking. It's basically a neutral, safe space so that you can stay focused and sort out all the noise, because I don't know about you, but I am bombarded by tons of emails and different strategies and things to try. So this is a good place to stay focused and get clear. So of course, if we put all a value on these, like added them all up, it'd be worth over $780, but that's not what it's going to be. Before we tell you the real price, I want to just ask you a few questions. So if you joined our membership and all it did for you was keep you accountable and consistent and got you taking action on your business, what would that be worth to you? If all you got was 90 minutes once a month with an ICF Master Certified Coach, and you got feedback on your coaching and she or he answer all your questions, what would that be worth? Let's say you got 90 minutes with a different guest expert, like a professional marketing expert, a copywriter, someone who knows about organic marketing, LinkedIn, how to create a course. Every month, someone different. You could ask them questions, have your content reviewed, things like that. What would that be worth to you? And lastly, if all you got from this group was the support and strategies and confidence, accountability to finally take action and sign one paying client, what would that be worth to you? I think $780 would be worth it. Of course, it's huge value, but I think you can guess already that's not actually what the cost is. So for this round of entry, when the doors are opening now, we're going to open it at $27 monthly. We put it at that price because we wanted it to be accessible to as many people as we could have it be. And we want to give you crazy value at this low price. We're going to add in another about $200 of bonuses in there. You can see some of them listed there. That's not all of them. And we wanted you to come in and have an opportunity to help shape this community. So if you come in now when we're just forming everything, you can tell us what you want to learn about, and we'll try to make it happen, right? It'll be a smaller group, so it will be much easier for you to get attention from Emily and I and support from other members in the group. We can't always keep it at this price, so we're going to offer it at this price as like a founding member. So yeah, basically, if the price goes up, like when it goes up, you'll have this price forever. You'll never have to pay more than that. You can cancel anytime. We really want you to be happy, so you can cancel anytime. Doesn't matter. And of course, not offering this price all the time. And if you join by Friday tomorrow, we decided we're going to give you this awesome bonus called Your Story, Your Brand. So it's like a step-by-step workbook with exercises that will help you dive deep into today's topic, and also to find your brand and your message. It's like an awesome workbook. You can fill it all in and just kind of go deeper into what we learned today. So maybe you're wondering, like, is this for me though? Like, I'm not quite sure about this. It's totally normal.
Yeah, so this group is for coaches who are tired and confused, they're lonely, who have doubts, and don't know how to get your business going and be consistent through the struggles. It's also for people who aren't confident about their skills and are looking to get some support and guidance from a mentor coach. And for people who want to learn about building their business and their skills, and without spending so much on multiple offers from coaching gurus. And definitely this is for people who are committed to making it work. So if that's you, you can sign up at this price and give it a try. You can always cancel if it's not for you. So what do you have to lose? Because really you have two options. After today, you can take what you've learned here about niching and try and move forward on your own, or you can cut the time it takes to make your coaching goals happen and fast forward your progress by joining our community. So we have a few things to share with you guys about what others are saying about this community. So Kay said that it helped her to feel more confident and supportive and consistent with working on her business. Aman said that this coaching community is unique because it's the bridge between a new coach with zero experience in the business and one who's established and thriving. And Christopher said, we all have things that we focus our attention on, but we always find time for this group. It's that valuable. So let's do a little recap of what you do get in this community.
Yeah, so that's an MCC level coach that you get access to each month, plus a guest expert each month. You're going to have the accountability and masterminding that really is what's required for a successful coaching business. We'll have co-working time, private Facebook, happy hour connections, a whole bunch of content and bonuses. Things like our coach's business growth planner. That's something Emily and I created. That's the system we use to stay balanced every week and not just spend like a whole month working on your website and never coaching anyone. Or never making new connections. So that's something you'll just get right away. A Canva workshop, a LinkedIn profile template, recordings to some things we've already done, an awesome organic marketing infographic. So a whole bunch of stuff. And then if you sign by Friday, so that's tomorrow, like midnight Eastern, we'll throw in that extra bonus. We said that's a planner of your story, your brand. It's really cool. So you're probably thinking, can I justify this cost? Like, what is this, right? Like, I don't get it. So one way to look at it is it's less than $1 a day. So that's like 90 cents a day, which is not a lot of money. But is it worth it? I think so. Starting a coaching business is like a roller coaster, and it's got lots of ups, lots of downs. And the longer we stay in this, and we'll have more ups, right? But why board the roller coaster alone? Why take this journey alone? We'd love to have you join us. And so we will put the link in the chat, and yeah, we would love to have you in there.
Yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for letting us tell you about this new awesome community. We're super passionate about this and very excited to have you guys in there. But we wanted to take some time for questions now, either about the group or about niching. So we're gonna just open it up. I'm gonna stick the link in the chat like Rebecca said, but if anybody has any questions, feel free to pop on. Or maybe we can go through the chat and see what questions were in there.
Let's have a little, and you can raise your virtual hand. Thanks, Christopher. Thanks, Simon. Thanks, Jen. Yeah. Yeah, let's see some niches. Who is brave enough to just get on here and like tell us their niche in person?
Looks like Erica raised her hand.
Yay, okay.
Okay, so it's Erica.
Hi, from California.
Hello. Yes. So I am a mindset and wellness coach, and I know that we're not, so is it that we're not supposed to have that just in our, like, as the type of coach we are, or are we not supposed to have that like in our elevator pitch?
You could have it in your pitch, but I would expand on it. So don't just have it that, right? So you said it was mindset and wellness?
Yes.
Yeah. So what is the mindset and what does the wellness get them, right? Like that's probably, if you think about like mindset as a cause, that their mindset is, you know, they should improve their mindset. What is the symptom in their life? Like how is it manifesting and coming into real life for them day to day?
Right. So with that, so it's okay to say that, as if somebody asks like, okay, well, what kind of coach are you? And if my specific focus is mindset and wellness, but however, if they're like, okay, who do you help? And then I have the specific pitch that is separate from that. So I'm kind of thinking about it like, or should I? Okay, well, I'll tell you what, I want to work with like business professionals.
Okay.
But what I want to specifically help them with is like releasing emotional blocks and that sort of thing, and self-care, and so they can perform better at work. So that's one particular set of clientele that I'm leaning towards.
Mm-hmm.
And so is it okay to say that I'm a mindset and wellness coach and this is who I work with? Or would I be like, I'm a, self-care coach, or, a career coach? Is that?
I would just even eliminate saying I'm a mindset and wellness coach. Because if you think about it, if you're at, a cocktail party or whatever, a Zoom version these days,
right.
But, and somebody says to you, what do you do? If you said, I'm a mindset and wellness coach, they would be like, what do you mean?
Okay.
And then you would say exactly what you said. I can't remember what it was, but it was perfect. It was very specific about the who, and you help them do what so that they are what. And it was very specific. So why even say, if you want to put a title in your business card, you can say mindset and wellness coach. But if somebody asks you what you do, I would just leave that off.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I could do that. So just getting exactly down like what kind of words I want to say. Do I want to say, of course, the business professionals, but specifically, do I want to, I guess I'm choosing like the synonym that I want to use. Like, do I want to say self-care? Do I want to say mindfulness or confidence, whatever that is, picking that, but leaving out like the title aspect of it.
what does the confidence get them? So you have to go even deeper, right?
Yeah, so they perform better at work.
Perform better at work. So that's your phrase.
Okay.
And what does performing better at work get them?
They make more money. They are able to, I mean, if they want to have work advancement, if they want to get, if they want to get a promotion, that would help them do that.
Mhm.
I guess they'd just be more proficient, more efficient, more productive.
Ooh, mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are your words: more productive, get promoted, and make more money.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
So if you're at a party and they're like, hey, Erica, like, oh, maybe they kind of know what a coach is or whatever. Like they're like, what do? You say, oh, yeah, I help people. And you could even get specific, like, who is it? Like, you could even say professionals. I help professionals get promoted, make more money or be more proficient and productive, get promoted and make more money.
Okay.
Right? Cool. Doesn't that sound like, and they're like, oh, that's awesome. And they're like, you know what? Like my cousin Shirley, she's like hates her job. And then they're like, you should really talk to her. So, I think you just have to spell it out for people, right?
Okay.
It's so hard, trust me. I love the coachy words.
Yeah, I mean, because they make like high level sense.
Yeah, exactly. We're like, why don't you guys get it? But we this is our thing. Like we dive deep into these things, but not everybody does that, right?
Yeah.
And kind of read the room. Like if someone's really into personal development and they get it, sure, you can say like limiting beliefs or like overcome your trauma. But if you're speaking to like just anyone, they'll be lost. So I think like you already nailed it. It's like get promoted, make more money. And then they're like, wow, how do you do that? I help you with your mindset. I help you with your confidence, right?
Okay.
Leave them wanting more.
And it goes down into that. So it's like, okay, we work on mindfulness, we work on self-care, we work on all these different things, but it's like the layer, for us, it's the layer above, but for them, it's the layer below.
You got it. Exactly. You're a coach. You want to get to the cause. They don't care. They just want the solution. They want the symptom because they don't feel good right now. Right.
Okay.
So yeah. Does that help?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
You're welcome. Lisa? I think
so. What I have is I help church leaders navigate the challenges of ministry and find balance and clarity. Is that specific enough?
I think you should go deeper into the balance and clarity. Like what, again, it really is more about like, what is that? Like, what are they balancing and what do they need clarity for?
Okay.
So think about that for a bit. Do some journaling, unless you want to tell us now, or Emily, you want to add anything?
No, I'll do some work on it in a bit. But next question is, after you have your elevator speech, what do you do next with your niche?
Plaster it everywhere. I'm just kidding. That's your thing. That's your thing. So a really good thing to do, and it's in the book workbook, is mind mapping. Okay. So have you ever done an exercise with that?
I don't think so.
So look in the workbook and then put your niche in the middle, or put the people. You have a very specific group that you work with. That's awesome. You already know like kind of where to find these people. And now just put a bunch of like lines out and brainstorm topics around that. Why don't they have balance? Why don't they have clarity? What is stopping them? What are the words they're actually saying? Like, what would they come to you and be like, Lisa, I just really wish that blah, blah, right?
Okay.
So finish the sentence, right? Like, what are they saying? What is the thing? Like, how is it showing up in their life? I can't keep up with all the admin work I have. I'm so overwhelmed. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I feel like quitting. So then that's your messaging. Do you feel like quitting because you're overwhelmed or something like that? I don't really know your topic, but
okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Anyone else?
I do.
Who's talking there? I don't know if I see.
Juliana. Oh, I can, yeah.
Is Lillian, are you trying to ask a question?
Yes, exactly. And I wasn't sure. I'm so sorry.
No problem.
So thank you for the meeting. It's really informative.
Oh, good.
I would like to ask a question. I don't have a niche, and like you say at the beginning, I do go abroad, like with everything.
Yeah.
So it's not because I want to do that. It's like you mentioned at the beginning. I want to get as much intense experience to know which is the one that I actually like, and I feel the flow to go with. But I keep asking myself more questions. There are things that I really don't like. Like I do love energy, and I do love the quick way of thinking, catching and going after. And from experience, we all know that not many clients want to go after. They do want to come to the session, but then 2 weeks fall apart and they don't really do the full assignment, or they didn't really change much. And this really discouraged me. And I know I shouldn't take this personally. But the point is like how I'm going to deliver the difference to the client's life if they don't really follow the steps to change their life. So I was thinking maybe it's actually the niche that I need to actually start narrowing my way of reaching out to clients. But I'm confused with myself and which way I want to go, because I do like the energy, which actually comes in me easily. And I also like the people who are very goal-oriented. And at the same time, I'm after joy and the happiness and the appreciation of life. So many things, how to actually take this into a problem solving from my clients and combine it all together as a niche. Is there any clarity in that, what I'm saying for you?
Yeah, there's a lot of things there.
Yes.
And I think, I don't know that you can meld them together. Like, I don't know that you can avoid coaching people who don't commit to the practice by choosing a niche appropriately. It might just be, maybe weeding out some people that aren't really dedicated to the coaching process. But this is actually something we talked a little bit about in our mastermind this week. It's, you can't own that for a client. If you have a coaching session with a client and they commit to whatever, exercising 4 times in the week, and they come back and they didn't, that's not on you, and it's not necessarily on them either, but it's definitely not on you as a coach, because you didn't have to do the work. They had to do the work. So now your job as a coach is just to walk them through that process of determining why they didn't do it. Did something else come up? Do they have, competing priorities? Did something change during the week and they realized that they don't want to do that anymore and they need to do something else? So your job is just to explore that with them. And definitely if they come week after week after week and they're not doing what they need to do, then maybe have a conversation with them about whether or not they're ready to be coached right now, and maybe it's something they do in the future. But you can also, get clear about what type of person you want to coach, and, have a conversation with them ahead of time about what their style is and how committed they are and how they like to be accountable and all that kind of stuff, and just make sure that they're the right client for you, because you guys both need to come together. So, but in terms of niching, I don't think that that's going to, I think it's 2 different topics.
Yeah, I agree. Those are 2 different topics. I was just speaking on them both.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as choosing what you want, I know it's so hard, right? So I think you need to look for, in this case, I would look at your own experience and your own work experience, or things people come to you for a lot. And also visualize when you're really stuck, because there's lots of them. Think about, who do you want to sit across from? Like, who do you want to talk to every day? Do you want to talk to someone who's like, oh, I can't do anything? Or do you want it to be like someone who's working on their career or their relationships? Like, think about who you would like to help people with. Does something come up for you when you visualize that kind of person?
I mean, I definitely feel the energy flowing when a client comes to me with the situations that are stuck in life. And then within few minutes, I can easily actually see that there is something else deep beneath what they're saying. So this really gives me huge excitement. And it's usually the hit for the client as well.
So you can, yeah.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so you can see it feels like, and I just saw someone posting about this somewhere about that, yeah, like helping people figure out the underlying cause. But of course, that's what coaching is, right? So you do have to still, you can't sell it in that way, right? Because if you say to someone, oh, I'll help you figure out what's really going on any problem, no, I don't think people will buy that. Do you know what I mean? So some people will, for sure. If you get into a lot of conversations with people, you might have someone, if you speak to them like honestly and with your energy, they might sense that you can help them, and just offer to help people for free. Do a free coaching conversation, connect with them and help them. You might just be fine and that'll be your thing, you know. But if you're talking to someone who has no idea and they don't tell you about any problem, what will you say to them, right? Like, imagine they're not telling you they're suffering through something. What are you going to say at the party?
I would easily find a question to ask about the body language and the surface I'm seeing.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't know, like if someone said to you, Liliana, what is it you do? What would you say?
It's breaking up. Hello?
Hi, I was just saying, if someone were to ask you, what is it that you do? Like, how would you answer?
That was the question. And that's my stuckness. I would say that I help people find, I help people move with the life in the areas when they feel stuck on.
Yeah. So why are they stuck?
Why are they stuck?
Yeah,
because we all fail in situations that we're not capable of seeing them clearly, and they block us and limit us from living our full potential in life.
Yeah, so like full potential is better. Full potential is good. And Aniko put in there like high performers, right? So I would, and like why, so how does being stuck manifest in their life? Like how is that realized in their day-to-day life? Right? Because everyone's stuck on something, to be honest, you know?
Yes.
So you really need to work on, and it may feel uncomfortable. You're like, oh, I can help anyone. But honestly, when you're talking to, if you're telling you can help anyone, it's going to be tough. One-to-one connecting with people on different topics, by all means do that. But if you're going to try to market yourself, you kind of have to pick a lane for a bit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you. That's why I'm on discount, because I cannot really do it for a very long time.
Yeah. So I would do some journaling with the workbook, and I would do like a visualization, like try to really sit down and close your eyes and think about who is that person? Like, are they stuck at work? They want a better job. They're not happy with, like, what are they not happy with? And then maybe try that out. Right. I mean, life purpose is a good niche too. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was just saying that when I go through the groups you just mentioned, I definitely like to go back to ourselves. Mm-hmm. So I do see that I like to come up with the solutions for people to overcome their obstacles easily. It comes like A, B, C, D for me. And so I am excited when I see people becoming more joyful, more happy, more in charge of their life in a good way. So that's how I feel. Yeah.
So you're gonna have to kind of pick one, right? So you might want to pick like happiness, right? Mm-hmm. So people who feel like no happiness at all. But I would still get deeper on one type of person then, maybe. Like, is there a type of person that you often talk to or that you help already, you've coached already, that you really enjoyed?
Yeah, like mature people around between 35, 50.
So what you might want to do is sit down and brainstorm a whole bunch of things that type of age range of people might deal with. Like some people
Mhm.
coach empty nesters. Do you know, like people
Mhm.
who have kids who left home for college and now they're like, now what? So
Mhm.
that's an awesome niche. I'm not saying you should do that, but
Mhm.
brainstorm, that's a pretty big range, by the way. 35 to 55 is pretty huge.
Mhm.
Right? Like, so maybe narrow that down. And what is a 35-year-old? What are they looking for? What is the general thing they might want? I would really kind of brainstorm it out
Okay.
and think of people you've actually helped and what did you like talking to them the most? What were they stuck on? What did they want more of?
Okay.
Did you get the workbook, Liliana?
No, I did not.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, you
Um,
got it. This is hard work and people want to skip over it, but don't skip over it.
Now, listen, I was trying to skip over for all those years, and
I
I'm
know,
not anymore.
exactly. Yeah, and then you're
It's
like, oh, I kind of do have to pick. I know all about it. Trust me.
yeah.
And so many big name coaches say the same. They're like, I tried to skip it, or they picked something because they thought it would make money for them. And that's not good either, right? So sit down, do the work. Yeah, like I hope you join us in our group because we love to help people with stuff like this. You know,
Thank you so much.
it takes time to workshop it, right? But I want to maybe get
Yes.
to Jen's question. She typed one in there, but
Sure,
really,
definitely.
yeah, sit down, get the workbook, do some mind mapping, do some
Mm-hmm.
visualization. And maybe the one thing that we didn't mention in the talk is that it could be you 3 years ago. What was your thing? What was your transformation? That's the easiest place to start.
Okay.
Okay, so
Right. Thank
really
you so much.
journal through your story. If you join and you get the bonus, that's going to help too. It's your story. Go through your story and pick out. That's what I did. Highlight, take the time to write it all out and highlight those, and then you'll find gems in there. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time too. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. Okay. What did Jen say there? I know she's
Yeah,
at
we've
work.
got-
She can't speak.
One from Jen and one from Ryan. So Jen said, I guide people to gain clarity, confidence, and control over their life and money so they can leave generational legacy.
Okay. I like it. But I would say, what would you say, Emily? I would say like what, again, they want clarity on what, like what is the problem? What's the symptom in their life from not having clarity or competence or confidence? How does it show up? Do you want to type it in the chat? So they're not having control over their life.
Motivated
no.
people and a lack of a plan. So I think it's still a little too broad. So if we go back to that slide
Put the
that
slide up.
just says, I help X people with X. One of those things has to be really specific. So it's either, 35-year-old moms of 2 kids, single 35-year-old moms of 2 kids, or it's just moms. But then the what you help them with has to be more specific, because they can't both be broad. It can't be I help men lose weight, because it's just too many people, right? You want to get specific about who you're talking to so that you can talk to them. So that when you say, I help these people do this, then it's really clear. And like Rebecca said, then they're going to say, oh yeah, my buddy Johnny has that problem. I'm going to let him know that you do this, right? So it's really connecting with that.
And yeah, sorry.
Go ahead. Nope.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Jen, what kind of legacy? Legacy's broad. Is that money? To be honest, like, I don't know why, but money came up to my head. Like,
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
I don't know why, but it could be anything. Like, I want to leave a legacy of impact. So like those words mean something, mean different to lots of people, right? So what kind of legacy? Is it impact? Is it money? Is it safety? And why do they want, these are questions for you to journal on. Why do they want clarity? Clarity on what? And so I think you said to have a plan. What's the plan? To plan what? They're generally 35 to 65 typically buried in debt. Okay, this is better, and want to have money in their lives, or have money but with no plan. Okay, I think those are two different people. I see two different offers there, right? So there's some people who have some money but not sure what to do with it but they want to be safe with it and leave money and life transformation coach. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think that, like we said before, you can have these as different offers, absolutely.
Hello.
But don't put them together. They're not clumped together at all, right? Someone who's in debt is different than someone who is has money but no plan. So I think, like we said to Liliana, you need to kind of do some journaling. Like, imagine yourself helping someone. I know it's so hard because we're like, I want to help them all. I can help them all, like, and you can change. Maybe you start with people who are buried in debt. And honestly, if someone's buried in debt, it sounds, it might sound bad, but can they pay you? Can they pay for coaching? Right?
Yeah, that's
maybe,
actually a really good point.
yeah. And like, you have to think about that. Like, you need to make money to help people.
Yeah.
Right. So, trust me, I've worked at lots of nonprofits, and it's like, oh, like, you need to make the money. Otherwise you can't provide services for people. Everyone wants legacy, but don't even know where to start. I've done this with many people. That's awesome. What kind of legacy? What did the people want? Yeah, motivated people. Exactly. People who see that they have to invest in order to get return, right? So maybe you have a group program for those people, but if you want to work with people who are motivated and have money and want to plan, yeah, exactly. So maybe that's a different kind of coaching, like a VIP package, if someone really needs individual help. What do you think, Emily?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of kind of options, but one thing I did want to say, again, we've kind of spoke to it before, but that's just that it's a starting point, right? So if you said, I help middle-aged women get out of debt so that they can invest in their future or something like that, and you just say that's what it is and you start coaching, people are going to start talking about you, right? Like we've said a few times now, it's you coach one person, that person is going to tell some other people, you talk about who you are, and people are going to say, oh, well, Jen does this, but I wonder if she could just pivot that a little bit to help me, like Rebecca spoke to earlier in the presentation. So it doesn't pigeonhole you as much as you think it will. Like it's like getting a good therapist or a good dentist. Eventually people are just like, that's the guy to go to. It doesn't even matter what's going on in your mouth. You go to that dentist. It doesn't matter what's going on in your head. You go to that therapist. So it's just, it's a place to start, but it's not something that you really need to, like we stress about it so much, but it's not the end of your coaching career if you say, yeah, I help motivated middle-aged women get out of debt so they can retire inspired. That sounds perfect.
Love it.
But
that's
then
great, Jen.
25-year-old kid comes to you and says, I don't know what to do with my life. You don't have to say, no, I only help middle-aged women. You can still coach them, It's just that you have a focused marketing statement that you use, an elevator pitch when you're talking to people. And you can throw that in on the end, because I do too. Whenever anybody asks me what I'm doing, I'm like, this is my niche, but I'll coach anybody, because I don't want to pigeonhole it, and I want them to know that there are options. So
yeah, I love that, Jen. And I think that's an amazing one to start with. Just run with that for the next 3 months. Like, make a commitment to yourself to, this is my niche now for 3 months. In 3 months, I'll revisit it. And then having that avatar is helpful for copywriting. You don't have to have your niche be like a middle-aged woman who loves Starbucks, who does yoga. No, that's only for when you're trying to write copy and you need someone in your mind. That's what it's for, right? But what you wrote there is awesome. They can retire inspired, or they can do whatever they want when they retire and feel relief. And so that's amazing. I think you should go with that. Yeah, but choose one. You can have several, like we said before, but just choose one. Don't try to, if you try to write and work on all those ones, they'll all be the equal amount of successful. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, dive in.
Dive
Because
into
like
one.
I talked about, you like when I didn't have a more clear message, my job got infinitely harder.
Mhm.
I was speaking to multiple people. So on my website, I have multiple pages where I talk to multiple different people and what are their pain points. And it's a heck of a lot of work, a lot more work than it is to say, this is my person, this is what they are, draw a picture of them. Or, some people tell you to give them a name, like it's Susie, and Susie's, 38, and she's got credit card debt, but she still has student loan debt, but she also has a kid and she's looking to her future. And, like really get clear on who they are so that you can speak to them about their problems. Yeah, because it's way too complicated. Trust me.
Yeah, trust us. There's other things to like worry about. So
Yeah.
pick this, try it on. I'm asking you, Jen, and I'm gonna maybe check in a bit and we'll see if you join us or not. But I want to see, just try it on, okay, for a few months and just see how it feels. Only think about this one for a bit. Just try it. Okay.
Yeah, you're welcome.
If you change it tomorrow, nobody cares. Nobody's gonna notice. Honestly, that's just the truth. I hope that helps. So Ryan, I help nurses impacted by the pandemic who want to find peace and rejuvenate through self-care. And he's new to coaching, not sure if he's on the right track. I think it's awesome. You have your who is super specific, amazing. I would just ask you again, why do they want to find peace? Like what will the peace get them? What's the next step? What's the extension of the peace? Self-care is important, but some people would tell you that that's the tool. And no, I was going to say, and people don't care about the tool, right? If you say like, I have this problem, I need it solved, and someone's like, okay, you got to do this and that, they're like, just, I want to solve it, right? So really speak to what is what is it going to get them? I don't know if you can type in the chat, or if you're at work and can't talk. It's pretty good though. What do you think, Emily?
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it just is a little unspecific in the finding peace and rejuvenating through self-care. Especially, I think self-care it's more understood now than, probably 10 years ago, but I think it's still a little in our heads and not in our hearts as much. Like if you could speak to what they're struggling with. Like
Yeah.
I help nurses impacted by the pandemic, relieve stress or something. I don't know. I'm not thinking of a good option. Maybe Rebecca has a better one. But just because you're giving them the solution of self-care, and that's not necessarily their solution anyways, right? If they're stressed out or wanting to quit their job or whatever the case is, that self-care isn't necessarily what is going to solve the problem for them. So you really want to speak to what they're struggling with.
Mm-hmm. I would try to work some out without having that in there for fun. And Ryan, how has the pandemic impacted them? I mean, I can probably name a bunch of things, but I don't want to speak for them, right? Like, go really deep? Do they feel like quitting? Are they regretting this career choice? Like, are they fighting? Are they, it's causing problems at home now with their husband and their kids? Like, are they, you know what I mean? Like what are the deeper things? Like, and even if you don't use it in your niche, your elevator pitch, you can use it in your content, in your copywriting, on your website, right? So hopefully you got the workbook, go through, journal all those out. Because I think it's a great niche, and I'm so happy someone's doing that. I can see an amazing group program for something like that, right? But try to do it without self-care in there. That's what I would try. And then, yeah, just dive deep into what does the Like, why do they need peace? What does it get them? And when they're rejuvenated, what happens next?
Hopefully Ryan is listening right now.
I know.
So
What
he's-
is it? Okay, good.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
And let us know. You can always post
Yeah.
in the group and let us know. If you join the community, you can talk
Yeah.
about us, talk about it with us in a couple
I
of
know.
weeks. We'll be doing it again. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly. We'll try to answer in there. Awesome. That's good. Yeah, it's
Amazing,
really
yeah.
fun. It's so important to have other people to brainstorm in,
Mhm.
like, that's what we've been doing. Like, honestly, I would have gone insane, I think. Because you're like brainstorming in your head, then you're in over analyzing mode and research mode. I love research mode. Oh my God, I'm going over so many resources that like I don't do anything. So yeah, just get with a group of people like us who will just tell you, okay, that's enough now, Ryan, like get to work.
Yeah.
Talk to some real people.
Yeah, it's totally true. Yeah, because you do get in your head and then, yeah, you stop like me, you know? You stop and then think, well, I'm just not going to do anything today. And today
Yeah.
rolls over into tomorrow and then into next week. And then a month has gone by. Yes. Yeah, so great question, Prince. It's not really an accountability buddy, although you can totally have an accountability buddy in Coaches That Prosper.
Yeah,
But
we
we're
can
going to
match you up.
every 2 weeks as a group and connect with one another and talk about, you know, what we want to be working on, what we didn't work on, why we didn't work on things if we didn't, and like hold each other accountable. Because like we've been saying, you know, it's easy to just let it all slide when you don't have a boss saying, hey, Rebecca, how come you didn't, you know, create that document that I told you to create by Thursday? You know, it's easy. You're the boss. So you can just say like, oh, I don't need to do it today. I'll do it tomorrow. And so, yeah, you could definitely get buddied up with somebody if you wanted that additional accountability. But yeah, we're going to meet regularly to connect with one another and keep each other on track.
Yeah, and you'll have access to us. Like, this is not like a massive group where you get on a call, a coaching call, and there's 300 people on the call. I've been in programs like that, and this is not going to be like that. Like, we're there for you. You have like access to us almost every week. So like, we will be your mentors. Okay, so that's basically how it's going to be.
And we have mentors.
Yeah, and we have mentors coming in
and,
as well.
Yeah.
Come to the mentor session next week and you'll see an example of one of our mentors who will be in the group every month. So yeah, and the accountability, she already talked about it. I want to talk about Aniko's. I think I like it, and I want to ask you, would someone ever come to you and say, Aniko, I need to overcome my inner obstacles?
Not a coach. Not me.
Not a coach. Emily would. No, I'm just kidding.
I get it that it's lingo, but what would you put instead? Because I think everybody knows that it's in them. So I think that even though they're not coaches, they're aware that it's something blocking them from the inside.
Yeah, it's better than limiting beliefs. It's getting more common, to be honest, even though we're still in the coach world. But then the same question is, what do the obstacles, like, is that it's causing procrastination, right? Mm-hmm. So what does procrastination look like daily? What are some things that show up because they're procrastinating?
That they just don't get things done, that the most important things. So they have to-do lists and they tick off the easy bits, but they don't even have a go at the ones that require creativity, for example. And you know, the whole day passes and
so they can't do other things too, right? That they can't even keep up with the normal, let alone do something different, right? So if they had a genie in a bottle, what are they saying?
Have it, you know, if the genie could do it for them, that would be the best.
That would be my answer. Good answer. Just do all the housework and all the things I don't want to do. Yeah, Jeannie, can you do it for me? That's kind of funny, actually. You might have to write a post about that. I like that. That's really good. Yeah, let's see. Okay, I help procrastinators learn, start, get things done so they can. Yeah, exactly. If they, so do they need to be more organized? Like, why exactly? Once they're done checking off the list, how will it feel? What's the result? How does their life look after?
That's why I put the word proud in there, but
Yeah, they can be proud of themselves. I think it's more than that. People don't want to pay to be proud of themselves.
I don't know.
It's probably
Yes.
a little bit more about actually moving forward in their lives, right? Like ticking off the to-do list kind of thought.
Okay, but the moving forward in their lives would have been way too general. So that's why I tried to make it more, tangible, because probably they keep postponing things on their to-do lists. That's why I just wanted to put in to-do lists. But
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. They keep postponing things, right?
So they can stop postponing their life, or maybe.
Yeah, people who
But
feel
yeah,
like
I
they're
wasn't saying-
postponing.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Emily.
I wasn't saying that you can't be more specific than what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, the feeling is I'm not doing anything because I'm a procrastinator and I want to move my whole life forward. I want to stop procrastinating, right? So you help them learn or start to do those things so that they can move forward. So whatever kind of wording, what did Virginia say? I help people stop procrastinating so that,
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to ask you that. Those formulas, you need to write a bunch of those out, a lot of different ways, like at least 3 different ways. So,
and mind map that too. Procrastinators in the middle, what are they? They're missing appointments, they're not hitting deadlines, they're feeling bad about themselves, all those kind of offshoots. And in that visualization, you might come up with a good so that they are, because you'll see all these kind of negative things that are happening and be able to say, okay, we can bucket it all together under this umbrella. Ooh, bucket and umbrella in the same analogy. Nice.
wow. Yeah. Think about things like, oh, I'm so like, what are they saying to themselves? What's keeping them up at night? Are they laying there and being like, I'm so tired of being behind all the time? Yeah. Like, what are they like? I'm so sick of like never getting everything done on my list and feeling like I'm a failure. Like, what are the deep things? Like, what are they like? I just wish that I could like figure out my life and everyone else has it all together, but I don't, like that kind of thing, right? Like, what are they saying? Use those words and they'll be like, oh yeah, that's me,
Yeah. Yeah, Virginia has another good example there. I help procrastinators become go-getters.
Yeah.
That's a good one. It's catchy, it's short.
But what's the go-getter? I like it for sure. And then maybe you would expand on it for sure.
So
that they want to be so that they are, or so that they can. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would work for sure. Find the motivation to, yeah. And instead of procrastinator, maybe you say, I help people who are tired of putting things off, right? Because maybe that's even more real. Like if someone's at a party and they say, oh yeah, I heard you're a coach. Like what is that? Like, how do you actually help people? What does a coach do? And you're like, oh, I actually specialize in helping people who are tired of putting things off and just want to be one of those go-getters. And then they're like, oh, how do you do that? And you're like, oh, well, we do blah, 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 XYZ, right? Together.
That's a good point too, about just kind of labels, not that procrastinator is necessarily very negative, but somebody might not identify as a procrastinator, right? They might just be like, oh, I don't ever do things, but I'm not a procrastinator, like they might not identify that. So you're going to miss them in that wording. Whereas if you said something like Rebecca said, where, they just want to stop putting things off, you could be like, oh yeah, that's me for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
because
you.
be aware that not everyone is conscious of these things, right? Because you know, when something's like, oh, I'm going to help you with self-love, like they're not even aware that they're not doing self-love. They're not even there yet. They're just like, you have
In
to
the
get
weeds.
them. Yeah, they're not there. That's a high level thing. I mean, procrastinator, you kind of know if you are or not, but I would do it a little more real language. Like, don't try to get them to try to guess what you're saying. Don't make people work too hard.
Okay.
Again, coaches, we love it. I'm like, what do they mean by that? Let me analyze it for hours. But average
Mhm.
people are like, I don't get it. So just
Yeah.
think about it that way too, right?
Okay.
Do some journaling and some
with
brainstorming. Let
that.
us know. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Virginia, for your help too. Those are good. What is
Yeah,
their
for sure.
identity? Yeah. What do they exactly? For you, think about the identity, the values. What does that person value? What do you value? Like, was that you? What were you thinking? What were you saying? What were you not doing?
I'm still procrastinating, so maybe
Yeah.
I need to get some more work
Yeah.
done.
Go deeper. Write out your story. What happened? How did you overcome it? Right. So and then go through and you'll find some good things in there for sure.
Okay.
Erica, did you take your hand down or did I accidentally take your hand down? Do you have a question you want to ask?
No, I did it. I just had an observation because just thinking of how difficult this is for us to drill down and find the specifics, like it does make a lot of sense that we're basically doing the work up front for the potential clients.
You got it.
Because if they just read what we say and it's like in coaching terms, they'll never get to like their specific problem that they're searching with. So imagine like how difficult it would be for them to figure out what we're doing, and we're still trying to put it in words.
Exactly.
So-
Such a good point.
Yeah.
You nailed it. Amazing.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's uncomfortable, right? To have to use words like, oh, I help people who are sick of putting things off. But when you think about it, it's like, that's the language they use, right?
Yeah.
Like, we don't want them to be like, is that what I am? I don't know. Like, you know, so yeah, exactly. Think about it. Look how hard it is for us. And this is the thing. And so we don't want them to have to get there too. And then your content is getting them to the part where they're aware of what they might need, right? So that's the other piece, but I'll have to wrap up soon because I have a school pickup in a bit.
Yeah. Does anyone have any more questions before
Last
we
minute.
pop off?
Oh, so come to the mentor session next
Yeah.
Wednesday at 1, is it? Yeah, I always get the time wrong. I think it's 1. We'll post about it in the group. We'll email. So we have Mercy. She's awesome. This awesome MCC coach from New York. She's so cool, and you're gonna love it. So come and join us.
Yeah, she's doing a workshop on her 7 steps to mastering the 30-minute coaching session. So, and Mercy's like, she's got 20 years in the biz. She was around since before ICF became a thing,
Yeah.
and she's taught and coached for 20 years. So she's got a lot of experience, and she's narrowed that all down into you know, some fundamentals for really it's not about shortening the coaching experience. It's about really getting focused and clear and not, you know, flying off into all the little things that you can get distracted by in a coaching session, but getting really, you know, targeted and niching down, if you will, to the real problem. So yeah, she's gonna join us next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, and we'd love to see you guys all there. That's free again. So yeah. Join us if you can, and thanks for coming, you guys. It's been great. Thanks for all your great questions.
Nice to meet everyone.